Gyali Gyawali has been a strong advocate of expanding India-Nepal relations for the benefit of the people of both our countries. As we are all aware, the world is passing through testing times. While it has posed a challenge, it also offers an opportunity to explore new avenues of cooperation. Your Excellency, I am sure that with the guidance of the able leaderships of the two countries, the relationship between our two countries will continue to be elevated to new heights. With these remarks, may I say that we greatly look forward to your address. Today, we have before you an audience comprising a small cross-section of academics, think tank analysts, diplomats, and media representatives. Many of them are very well known to you, but their presence here confirms their deep interest in your country and its tremendous importance for our region. With these remarks, may I now request you, Your Excellency, to address the Council. Thank you very much.
Ambassador Dr. P.C.A. Raghavan, Director General of Indian Council of Foreign Affairs, distinguished diplomats, scholars, and professors present here, and those who have joined us virtually, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. Namaskar and good afternoon. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to speak before this distinguished audience. I sincerely thank the Indian Council of Foreign Affairs for this opportunity and for the warm reception. I thank you, Ambassador Raghavan, for your kind words of introduction. That many eminent people have worked for this conversation reflects the interest you have on Nepal. For me, demonstrates your goodwill about Nepal, as well as the importance attached. Dear friends, Nepal is the kind of political transformation that Nepal has achieved in the recent. It rarely happened elsewhere in the world that a society succeeds to smoothly shift from armed conflict to peaceful political process, agrees on the agenda of socio-political restructuring, accomplish the journey from bullet to ballot, and the entire process culminates in the making of the inclusive constitution by people's elected representatives. The constitution that we made guarantees human rights and fundamental freedoms to all citizens without any discrimination. It seeks to promote socio-economic justice to the backward communities in our society. In the past 3 years, our focus has been on translating the same constitutional aspirations into reality. In a diverse society like ours, where political forces carry contesting ideologies, managing transition was not easy, but we did with a firm resolve. It was a resolve to transform society and empower everyone. I must mention here that in accomplishing this historic change, we received valuable support from all of our friends and well-wishers in the neighborhood and around the world, for which we are most thankful. Post-constitution transition remained strong. As envisaged in the constitution, elections were held for local, provincial, and federal legislatures in 2017. After 20 years gap, the local bodies received elected leadership, and we have already started to see the positive impacts of the empowered local bodies at the grassroots level. The newly established provincial governments have also proven their importance. A decision has recently been taken to go to the sovereign people for a fresh mandate. This election will be yet another important occasion for expressing popular will and further strengthening our democratic foundation. Political process having taken a settled course, our focus is now on the other aspects of people's freedom, namely freedom from poverty and underdevelopment, freedom from hardships of deprivation, freedom from worry about basic needs, freedom to pursue a healthy and prosperous life. Fully aware political gains can if we are able to create a robust economic foundation. And to this end, our government, under the leadership of Prime Minister, is resolutely focused on realizing the national aspiration of prosperous Nepal, happy Nepali. Development priorities, defined time-bound goals, and implemented them with all our strength. In the past 3 years, Nepal has made significant strides in various dimensions of socio-economic transformation. The pace and intensity of the transformation has never been more visible and impactful. The country has progressed on most of the development indicators. Prior to COVID-19 pandemic, Nepal was in the list of top 10 countries with high economic growth. The rate of growth had been above 6.5% continuously for the past 3 years. At the same time, poverty level was reduced by 1.5% every year. During the same period, Nepal achieved significant improvements in more than 14 global indicators. It is encouraging that we were among the top 10 countries in making improvements in Human Development Index, ease of doing business, hunger index, peace index, rule of law, corruption control and transparency, happiness index, and the gender parity. Trade deficit has come down by 10%. FDI has increased. Development cooperation has increased, and we are in a better situation in terms of foreign currency reserve. Works related to strategic infrastructure critical for Nepal's development, including cross-border railways, east-west electric railways, waterways, new airports, Kathmandu-Tarai Expressway are moving ahead. Construction and upgradation of Aerial Highway, together with expansion of East-West Highway, are ongoing. Guided by the motto of economic growth with social justice, the government has initiated the contribution-based universal social security scheme. Health insurance has reached more than 60%. Despite COVID-19, school enrollment has reached 98%. In health sector, just last month, we laid the foundation stone for new hospitals of 5 to 15 beds capacity in 396 urban and village municipalities to be built simultaneously. This was a historic announcement made with the purpose of ensuring people's access to health services even in the remotest part of the country. Post-earthquake reconstruction works are near completion. The restitution of some of the rich and treasured historical icons. 7 lakhs private homes have been built. I am glad to say that these include 47,000 houses of the Government of India's generous assistance. People living in the vulnerable locations have been shifted to safe settlements. We are mindful that these achievements are not adequate. There is much more to do. Our development needs are immense and aspirations are boundless. Resources are limited and challenges are numerous. And many of these challenges we cannot confront alone. Many of our aspirations we cannot meet by our own efforts. That is why we need partners. We need friends. Naturally, start of such friendship is neighborhood. We see a natural connection between our aspiration of prosperity with the prosperity of our big neighbors. This would mean for us a robust economic partnership that enables us to grow and unleash our potentials. A partnership that helps overcome Nepal's structural bottlenecks as a landlocked and least developed country. A partnership that fosters mutually rewarding and beneficial relationship. A partnership that propels the process of industrialization, flow of investment, transfer of technology, and connects our economy in value chains. A partnership that leads to better utilization of our natural resources for sustained economic growth and development, and a partnership that makes our relations impactful to the lives of our people. Distinguished friends, our two countries are connected by geography as well as history, by nature as well as culture. Both our societies are blessed with ancient wisdom and heritage which timelessness has been universally recognized. When we come to the context of our relation today, the key question is how much we can serve the aspiration of people, to what extent we can be supportive of each other's quest for growth and development. Both our countries are highly diverse societies and have our own unique experiences of managing this diversity. We have similar aspirations and face identical challenges in pursuit of respective national goals. Our development challenges are poverty is still significant with the ability to ensure that people distant quality food and that our youth receive quality education that makes them competitive. These common urgencies do tell us why economic development should be more crucial in our contemporary conversations, why we need to force close economic partnership to their end, and why cooperative relations between our two countries is important. Nepal-India relations are the vast confluence of political and economic interactions as well as unique ties at people-to-people level. It cannot be confined in one dimension alone. In the political sphere, both countries have been brought closer by their steadfast commitment to democratic values, practices, and system of governance. India has demonstrated how democracy and development could be successfully pursued together so as to promote overall progress and prosperity of the people. Nepal is equally hopeful to consolidate democracy and strengthen democratic institutions so that the gains of our long struggles remain unshakable. In order to carry forward our multifaceted relations, we have built a large network of bilateral mechanisms in almost all sectors of cooperation. There are close to 3 dozen mechanisms that are currently functioning at various levels and in different areas. I am attending this time to hold the meeting of one of such important mechanisms with my distinguished counterpart, Dr. Jaisankar, the External Affairs Minister of India. Needless to say that relationship between neighbors has its own characters. Mutual trust, understanding, and the respect for each other's sensitivities and concerns contribute to strengthen the foundation of such relationships. Building and nurturing trust is absolutely essential for the health and harmony of the relations. In this spirit, we desire to start the conversation with a view of resolving the question of boundary alignment in the remaining segments. Many of you may be aware that Nepal and India share over 1,800 kilometer long international boundary, most of which is jointly mapped. Only in the stretches of some kilometers, the work remains to be completed. Finding an agreeable boundary alignment in these segments may not only take us the state in may also in as well as help instill greater degree of confidence in bilateral relations. I believe that we can work out and reach the streets. The boundary questions through process. We have also shown wisdom that in one area, the momentum of our overall engagements is continued. We are also mindful that we should not let any outstanding issue between us be there forever and become irritant in otherwise friendly relations. Ladies and gentlemen, for Nepal, India remains the largest trading partner. However, the problem of bilateral trade deficit looms large. Our economy cannot sustain this alarmingly high trade imbalance. In the process of the review of bilateral trade arrangements, we have proposed certain measures that would offer us some genuine space and help us expand our export base. We expect positive and forthcoming consideration of these measures. Nepal is not a competitor of India in trade. I am sure many of you agree when I say that making Nepal economically strong serves India's interest too. We have likewise tagged a few proposals for expansion and streamlining of the current transit arrangements. We like to see an early conclusion of this review process as well. Nepal and India are endowed with resources, both natural and human. The 21st century should not merely be the century of potentials and the resources lying untapped and unused. It should be the century of dream realization. Talking about potentials, hydropower development is an important sector of bilateral economic partners. It will benefit the people and industries of both our countries. We need to generate a success story by sincerely implementing the projects agreed in the past. Panchester project comes under. Our recent conversation on this transformative mega project has been encouraging. Once realized, Panchester will not only be a big project on its own, but also state a success story how we can make arrangements for cost and benefit sharing and harnessing of our vast water resources. Indian investors are already finding traction in investing on hydro projects in Nepal. This project is public enterprises, prices, and other buyers. In our trust rate of electricity from projects like this, included a bilateral power trade agreement in 2014, incorporating the provision in order to facilitate cross-border trade of electricity from projects like these, our two countries concluded a bilateral power trade agreement in 2014, incorporating the provision about free trade of electricity. Power traders and developers are awaiting issuance of a facilitative procedures for cross-border electricity trade. Nepal's desire is to see an early possibility of unhindered trade of electricity among at least the BBIN countries. The importance of connectivity cannot be overemphasized. We need to further expand air connectivity, air routes, and road and rail linkages. Added to this are railways, waterways, and other components of cross-border transport, hardware, and software. Lately, we have made noticeable progress in some of our flagship connectivity projects. Our Prime Ministers inaugurated a year ago Motiari Amlekganj Petroleum Products Pipeline, the first cross-border pipeline in the region. We are talking about further expansion of pipeline infrastructure. Integrated checkposts have been developed and operationalized at two major border points, streamlining the cross-border movements of goods. More such checkposts are on the plan. Progress has been made on cross-border railways too. Required preparatory steps are being taken for the development of Kathmandu-Raxol Railway. Our experts have undertaken homework on inland waterways as well. These initiatives will not only make us more connected, but also contribute to Nepal's transformation from landlocked to land-linked situation. Beyond the respective border, our two countries do share a dream of regional prosperity and better regional cooperation. in SAR, district, and PBIM. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, we explored the possibility of regional cooperation among the SAR countries, with the Prime Minister of India for taking the initiative to convene the virtual summit of SAR leaders. Nepal and India are both advocates of the issues and do raise for a fairer and more inclusive global development architecture for a better level playing field for all countries. Dear friends, we are in the change context both at home and abroad. Accordingly, we want to inject fresh perspectives into our relations with external world. Our foreign policy priority begins at our borders. Talking about India, our intention is to strengthen our foundation of our relations, to expand and consolidate it, and to bring the relations to the next level. Our objective is clear and unambiguous. We are two countries of different size, populations, level of economic development. The scope of our ambition is different, so is our strength. India is aspiring to be a global power, both politically and economically. Nepal's ambition is to be a more stable and prosperous country. As a close neighbor, we are delighted to see India's incredible achievements, be it in the infrastructure build-up or industrialization, be it the advancement of technology, or in terms of 7 decades of successful democratic practice. Today, as we wait for the availability of COVID-19 vaccines, India is one of the few front runners that have started vaccinating the people, which has given us a great hope. I take this opportunity to congratulate India and its innovative companies for the success. Being next door, we believe we too will be availing these vaccines. Dear friends, Nepal was among the few countries that remained independent from history. In this very fact is rooted and founding sense of national pride of the today's 30 million Nepali people. We therefore hold dearer than anything else the principles of sovereign equality, mutual respect, and non-interference. We pursue an independent foreign policy, and our conduct of external relations is based on a balance. We do not harbor ill will against anyone. Amid with all and any
कोरोनाले सृजना गरेको संकटमा पल पलका न्यूज अपडेट र हर क्षेत्रको कभरेजका लागि
News 24 नेपाल YouTube च्यानललाई सब्स्क्राइब गर्नुहोला।